Hey everyone and welcome. It's Melissa from Endo Empowered, and today I want to talk about why you've got so many different health issues going on. So it feels like this long list. You might have endo, you might have thyroid issues, you might have IBS, you might have PCOS. You feel like your list is just super long and you don't quite know why this is happening. So I would love if you are live with me today, if you feel like sharing some of the stuff maybe that you're going through, maybe some of the other conditions that you're struggling with, and I can show you some of the links here. The really good news about this is whatever is going on in your body, whether it's endo, whether it's thyroid, whether it's whatever conditions, the benefit is that when you approach the body holistically, you can almost tick off every single thing off your list because you're addressing the imbalances at the root cause. You're not having to go through every single condition and go, oh, okay, so I'm now going to approach endo and here's all the things I'm going to do for endo. And once I've addressed that, I'm going to look at my IBS and I'm going to go through all the list of things that's going on there. You don't have to do that because generally there is an overlap of what's going on in the body, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So if you are live with me today, feel free to send me any comments, any questions, and I will hopefully be able to answer them as I go. So I'm going to jump over to my presentation. Just give me a second. And we'll just jump over and get that underway. Okay, so this is very likely what is going on for you. You have got maybe a whole bunch of conditions happening. So very common with endo is some kind of thyroid, and it generally tends to be hypothyroid, which basically means low. So if you think of O, it's low function. So your thyroid isn't functioning very well. It's kind of on low drive, if that makes sense, which basically is it's not as effective. Now, typically what tends to happen when you have this is you might gain weight easily. The most common symptom is actually that you feel cold easily. That's, if it kind of makes sense, if you think about it really simplistically, the thyroid is kind of your modulator of your temperature in your body. And when it's running low, well, you're going to struggle to keep warm. So this is the most common symptom of low thyroid function. You might feel tired a lot. It's general kind of symptoms of basically a low functioning body in a way. You might struggle with dealing with anxiety. You might feel overwhelmed a lot. So that's basically your body is just on low energy levels. So if you imagine, a little battery, it's kind of running on the low battery side. That's kind of what's happening. So that's one of the most common ones. The other things that I've seen quite a lot with endo is PCOS, and this tends to relate to sugars in the body, low insulin levels, tends to be some kind of hormone imbalance going on there. Okay, so that's not sort of an area that I go into a huge amount of detail with, but I just want to show you that there is correlations and connections here. The other ones are IBS. So, you've got inflammation going on in the gut. You might get diarrhea, constipation. You just have kind of sensitivities. So this could be food sensitivities. You might develop allergies to certain foods, that kind of thing. So that's also very common with endo. And oftentimes the symptoms that you're feeling with IBS and the pain that you're experiencing is so closely related to endo pain that sometimes it's hard to distinguish between the two. So sometimes we feel like we've got pain every single day, but when we correct kind of what's happening here is often where we can correct that feeling, because everything's so closely related. It's obviously there's an overlap. So great news, because like I say, if you address the endo stuff, or what you think is the endo stuff, you automatically address the IBS stuff at the same time. So then the other ones which are interesting is things like migraines, headaches. You know, these feel like completely separate, particularly, you know, when you approach a doctor, they will never correlate migraines and headaches necessarily to endo, but these are actually very much related, because it's got to do with your hormones. So quite a lot of fascinating things when it comes to migraines and headaches, particularly if you're on the pill. There's a lot of connection there that you should ideally get off the pill if you suffer from those. I used to get a lot of these kind of symptoms when I was on the pill. Weird things, like I used to get sort of the scratchy eye sensation, like I felt like I had glass in my eye, and that was totally related to the pill because it went away once I got off the pill. So it's, and the pill also will affect your digestive system and a whole lot of other things. So we're not going to get into that today. But anyway, the point is, like, there's a whole lot of things that you're likely suffering from that are overlapping. So if there's others that you want to mention, feel free to jump onto the comments, share what you might be going through right now, what other symptoms. The other ones are a lot of autoimmune related conditions. So some more advanced signs of this. So you might have, you know, more advanced things like lupus, you know, there's actual digestive system type stuff, so colitis, Crohn's, those kinds of things. They tend to be kind of related to that, but it actually is a lot to do with an autoimmune response. Very common is actually allergies. So allergies is an autoimmune response to hay fever, which, interestingly enough, when you look at endometriosis and understand endometriosis a little bit more, you'll see that there is a lot of correlations there with that autoimmune response to those dispersed cells in the body. So anyway, let's dive in to how these all overlap and what you can do about it. Okay, so from my perspective, one of the key things that's happening here is an inflammatory response. Okay, now this is kind of the broadest term that I can use, but inflammation in the body is going to trigger pain, it's going to create imbalances, it's going to create stress, it's going to change your hormone balance. It has a huge effect on the body. Now, the reason for that heightened inflammation is because your body feels like it's being attacked, okay? Or it is just overwhelmed. And look, this is really, this Facebook Live is like, I'm trying to really simplify things for you. So I'm really going down to the simplest version I can explain this for you. This is a very complex topic and there's obviously a lot going on, but I'm trying to just give you this overview so you can sort of see, I guess, from a broader perspective, how the body works. So you've got this situation going on. Now, the reason this is going on is because your body is not detoxifying. So it's got a whole lot of toxins and it's not able to get rid of those effectively, or it has been exposed to those on quite a high level. And this is what causes the body to struggle. It's, you know, it causes this autoimmune response, it causes this inflammatory response, and it causes you to feel really tired. I want to show you an example of this. So I'm just going to see if I can jump over to my computer screen. Yeah, so hopefully you can see this. So this is a an article written by Amy Myers about the effects of various toxins on the thyroid. Now, some of these are it's quite interesting because there's quite a few studies that she's put in here. So mercury, for instance, is one of the most common ones. And one of the things that I found interesting is that mercury actually can slot itself into the same space as where your body is supposed to be putting the iodine. Now, iodine is crucial for your thyroid. So when you have this, it's creating this inflammatory response and this autoimmune condition, these correlations here that you can see with mercury. And she mentions a whole lot of other types of toxins that you might find in the environment. So you've got perchlorate, you've got nitrates, and these things are typically found in our water. They might be found in our foods, and this is obviously sitting in your body and creating havoc. So if we jump back, I'm just going to jump back to here. So if we think about this really simply, you've got this cog, and this cog is your detoxification cog in your body. And it needs a whole bunch of nutrients to make this work. Now, if you don't have those nutrients obviously in your diet, so that's sort of your first point of call, is to say, okay, well, how can I get more of these? So, obviously things like iodine, things like selenium, and looking at things that actually boost the immune system and help your body detoxify. But if you've got a scenario where, let's say you've got a receptor site, so let's say this is your thyroid, and this receptor site triggers a whole bunch of stuff. So this is kind of what receptor sites do on the cells. They go into that spot, so this little spot gets filled, and then that triggers a whole lot of events to happen. Now, if that receptor site is being filled with mercury, well, all these other things are not going to happen. And so you're going to have this thyroid inefficiency. So until you remove this mercury, you're always going to have that issue. What you want this site to be is not mercury. You want it to be iodine. So you might be having a diet that's high in iodine, but if you're not able to get into this little spot here, well, you're not going to be able to help support your thyroid. So this is why, yes, we can avoid mercury. Yes, we can have mercury removed, if you haven't done already, but you want to have mercury removed from your mouth. You don't want to have that stuff in your body, because this is the kind of stuff that it does. I mean, that's just one example, but you can imagine this is happening all around the body. It's not just happening in your thyroid. So my process that I always want to do is take out the mercury. Take out the things that are causing imbalances in your body. Because if you don't take it out, well, your body's always going to struggle. Now, there is a natural detoxification process that happens in the body. So it's not like, nothing's going on. But if you've got this overload situation, so you've got, this is my favorite example of a seesaw, and you've got this huge level of these toxins, I'm just going to give them a broad term of toxins. So you've got mercury, you've got dioxins, you've got nitrates, you've got all these things in your body. Well, there's a lot there. It's overwhelm. So you're not going to have all the nutrients that your body needs to effectively detoxify. There's just not enough. Like, even if you're eating the super healthy diet, you might not be getting enough. And particularly if this sort of scenario is happening. So what you want to do is look at, well, what are some of the toxins in your body that you can eliminate? What are some of the things that you can get rid of in the body? And there are some amazing foods out there that can actually do this for you. There are amazing supplements out there that can do this, and they are completely natural. You don't have to go through these severe detoxification processes, which I did, like liver flushes and, heavy metal detoxification that leaves you feeling completely shattered. It's not required. It's just about adjusting and adding things into the body that can help that detoxification cog. So you've got this natural detoxification cog, and you can just add in a bunch of things that can help your body work this cog better. And so your biggest cog in your body is your liver, and that's the key organ that you want to focus on that helps detoxification. Now, what I recommend is getting a liver supplement that can help your body do that. And I'm just going to show you one that I have here. This is one example. So it is a liver detoxification supplement. And the biggest thing that I always recommend is milk thistle. Okay, so milk thistle is a wonderful herb. And what it does is it actually builds the liver up. So it has the ability to heal the liver. So even if they took an example where they had somebody who's, a portion of their liver got damaged, milk thistle can actually build up the liver again. So it's amazing. And you also want to have ones that combine this. So ideally you want to have a liver supplement that has a combination of things in them. So milk thistle is one. Your dandelion is another. So dandelion root is more for the liver. Leaf is more for your kidneys. You can have both. It doesn't harm you to have both. The kidney is another detoxification organ. So dandelion root. The other one is I'm trying to remember now. Dandelion root. Artichoke is the other one. Is globe artichoke. So that's the other one that you want to add in. So, and thiamine is a vitamin B that you can add in, and that one there will help also detoxify your liver for you. Now, these are kind of the key things that you need to aid that detoxification process. The other thing that I always recommend is zinc. So zinc is really good for helping your immune system, also helping the liver detoxify. It is part of that process. So the other one is zinc. And I do recommend getting this in drops just because it's more easily absorbed, and you can kind of modulate that as your body needs it as well. So that's the other one. Now you can go more advanced. You don't have to stick with just these, but I would recommend connecting with me or working with somebody if you're going to go more advanced, because you can get detoxification effects, So if you imagine suddenly you're dumping a whole lot of toxins out of your body at once, you might get like diarrhea, you might get headaches, you might get skin breakouts, because your body's just going to try and release those toxins as quickly as possible. And sometimes that actually isn't good. Like, it can make you feel really crappy. You might question whether any of this is good. You might question whether it's worth it. And obviously we still have to work. We still have to maintain a normal life. So, I don't recommend doing too much all at once. There is one other thing that I would like to recommend, and it is called MSM. So this is methylsulfonyl methylene. And basically this also aids in the liver. So let me just show you the front. So this one's from Sunfood. You really don't need to use a hell of a lot. I mean, this is a huge thing, and I've had this for quite a while. But this is really good and helps your body just process any toxins as well. Glutathione is kind of the key one that we want to be getting. And it's actually very difficult to find glutathione that your body can fully utilize and absorb, especially through the gut. So ideally, you actually want to stimulate glutathione through your diet, and you want to look at foods that naturally contain it. And so these are things like your antioxidants. So looking at foods that are high in antioxidants and finding ways to stimulate that naturally. one of the foods that has the most highest antioxidants is cacao. So cacao, it's actually spelled like this. And you can get that at most health food stores. You can buy it online. But this is really, really powerful antioxidants, very, very high in antioxidants. And so this will help your body detoxify. So I'm all about using diet and I'm all about supporting your body. Obviously, there's a lot more we can do here. But like I say, I prefer to work with you, see where your body's at, because I kind of work on this basis. So you start off with your diet, and your diet actually, so we call it replenish, is really about providing enough of those cogs in the wheel. So really giving your body lots of cogs in the wheel to support it in its natural detoxification. This is why a lot of women feel better when they change their diet, and a lot of their pain goes away and a lot of stuff goes away, because the detoxification level might not be as high. So maybe if you've done all those things and you haven't had the results and you feel like, well, why is it working for so-and-so and not me? It's probably because your level of toxins in your body is way higher. I mean, that's one aspect of it, but that could be a reason. So maybe by shifting their diet, they added in all of these things that their body needed, and so then the cog just worked better. So it's able to flush out those toxins a lot easier. So we kind of start with that, and then we work through the steps. So, you know, exercise helps you sweat out toxins and also eliminate fat on your body. So fat is a place where your body will store toxins. So if you are quite overweight, your body just uses those little fat cells and it stores all of that stuff. So all those, things that you don't want in your body, it just stores them in those fat cells. So you want to kind of eliminate that out of your system as much as you can. Then we look at affirm, which is our emotional state, and looking at the connections there. So interesting enough, when you are highly stressed, your body will naturally develop a lot more health conditions. And the reason for this, it's very, there's lots to it, but basically you are depleting your nutrients when you're stressed. Your hormones are going to go all over the place because you're sucking up cortisol to support that stress level. And your natural instinct with your body when it is stressed is not to focus on things that it feels are unimportant. So things like digestion, things like healing, it is going to put on the sidelines because at the moment it's dealing with this high stress or, like running from a tiger type of environment. And so it's just not going to focus on that. And then it's only when we look at cleanse. So right at the end is when I look at the cleanse aspects and flushing out the mercuries and flushing out dioxins and all of these things. And the reason I do this is to basically guide your body through, make sure that you're in a good space, that you're in a good head space, that you're allowing your body to be fully supported before you do any of this cleansing. So my recommendation is not to just straight away jump into just cleansing, but focus on this aspect first, then move through these steps. And I'm here to support you with that. I'm here to guide you through that. I call it my reach technique, and it's really about giving you this step by step and guiding you through and letting your body be ready for the next step as you go through it. So from here, what I guess I can recommend to you is really look at where you're at with your replenishing of your diet. What are you missing? What nutrients are you missing? And maybe it's worth getting some tests done to see, I've got, a lack of selenium, or I've got a lack of iodine, or whatever it might be, and then assessing, how can I get that from my diet? And doing a little bit of digging and finding out, these foods have these things. Alternatively, you can just work with me, and I've already done all of that. So feel free to reach out to me if you would like that support. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has given you a little bit of insight on kind of the overview of how everything is connected, how it's all related, and how basically everything that you do holistically will address all of those things. So when we eliminate mercury from the body, we are rebalancing the thyroid, we are rebalancing that autoimmune response, we are rebalancing the endo pain and that inflammation that you experience with that all at once. So it's not just the singular thing. If you have any questions, if you want more information on any of these areas that I've covered today, please feel free to use the comment section, ask me. If there's topics that you want me to cover, come and join the Facebook group. It's facebook.com/Endo Empowered. I'm here to guide you. I'm here to help you through this. I used to suffer every single day with pain from endo, and my body was constantly tired, constantly struggling. I literally was taking so many things for all these different conditions, and it was only when I addressed this holistically that I now can live a normal life. And this is why I do this work. I want to help more women see these things and understand these things and know that it is possible to get rid of all these toxins and get your body back to a normal balance. So thank you so much for watching. Feel free to ask me questions and leave me comments of things that you want to know more about, and I'll be here to support you.